Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I want to talk to you about family court facilitators or family law facilitators. They practice law all the time, every day, all day long. And I wish you fathers out there would report them to the Bar Association and the clerk of the court. It's really easy. It's so easy, but nobody in the world has ever done it once except me. These family law facilitators are criminals, and you guys go in there and pay them 10, 20, 30 bucks. Some places I think they're free to not only get legal advice, but to get bad legal advice all the time. And even after I tell a guy they committed a crime, they screwed you over, they ruined your case, nobody does anything about it. Now, I've had people come into my office, and the family law facilitator in Tacoma in Pierce County, this fruity little weirdo who thinks he's the man because he's got a facilitator job, these people have told me, I was like, who did this paperwork? And they showed me the paperwork. Oh, the facilitator wrote it up by hand for me. And I've confronted the guy on that when I've been at the courthouse. And he said, we can't practice law, we can't fill out forms. I said, you do it and you know it, and I know it, and everybody knows it, and you're committing a crime. Why do you do that? And then a clerk came up, some manager said, what's going on here? I said, oh, you guys are committing crime, practice law without a license and stuff like that. And the clerk manager, whatever, said, because we're out in the hallway discussing, he was like, I don't do that. So he's making a little bit of a scene, being the drama queen that he is. And the guy's like, well, you can file a case with the police. I said, well, I want to. I got some evidence at home that I'm going to bring up, so I thought I'd just ask him. But the fact that you're standing here being a smart aleck and not caring that these guys not only give legal advice, but they give bad advice that causes people's cases to be screwed. And he's like, that doesn't happen. I said, I know of cases where a dad came in and wanted to vacate a default, which means you undo, like if you went to court, if the mother went to court, you never responded, you didn't know what you're doing, then she went to court 3 weeks later because you defaulted or you forfeited by being a no-show. Like at a baseball game, if you don't show up, the bus breaks down, you guys have to forfeit. You didn't really lose the game, you just were a no-show, so you took an L by default. So that's what happens in court cases, and there's warnings on summons saying if you don't answer this or show up, you could default. So guys who get served paperwork and don't ever read it get found in default, and the mother gets every response. But I've seen cases where a guy went to court to try and vacate a default. Then he talked to a facilitator, and the facilitator said, oh, you can't do that. You got to do a petition to modify. Here's the forms. That is a possible route, but when you never got a chance and you got railroaded or you defaulted, never got a chance to hear your side of the story, if you do a petition to modify, you're petitioning to modify in order, and you're saying it's legit. I want the harder road to try and modify a parenting plan, which is really hard, than to vacate it. When there's case law out there, you can see online that says for 100 years, we've always vacated defaults because we want people to be heard on the merits and hear their case. So I've seen cases where guys went there and the facilitator told them a different path to go down. And what the facilitator will say is, oh, I'm just handing them the paperwork. But you advised them this is a set of paperwork to go with the need that you have for your case, when they should be doing a motion to vacate to totally undo the parenting plan and start from scratch and start over. But you're saying do a petition to modify and try and fight to change this parenting plan, which may give him 2 hours of supervised visitation, whereas if he vacates it, he gets a fresh new start and start over. Right now, you say a petition to modify where he's locked in to the 2 hour visitation. He's got to work his way up to get more time. That's bad legal advice, and they shouldn't be given legal advice at all. Now, here's the thing. It could be argued that when a facilitator says, well, here's the paperwork for that, they're helping you figure out what paperwork you need to fill out, even if that facilitator follows their own in-house rules and says, all I'm doing is handing them the paperwork. You just gave them a set of paperwork to get them halfway through doing the paperwork, even though you didn't fill it out. That's legal advice. You're advising them how to proceed. It could be argued also that if the facilitator or a clerk at the courthouse or somewhere else says, hey, you're not supposed to file those here, the working copies for the judge are down the hall over there. You could drop them in the slot, you can hand them to the lady or whatever. Make sure you confirm your hearing. That's a whole bunch of legal advice right there. They do that all the time. In the early 2000s, somebody snitched, or I think the Seattle Times or some news organization did an investigation on King County, which is Seattle area, courthouse, and found clerks were given legal advice all the time. In my own case, I went to the counter and said, hey, I need to file a parenting plan. They said, oh, well, you need to go to the prosecutor. Some stupid, dumb, airheaded female, probably a radical feminist man-hater who's getting child support herself, told me I had to go to the prosecutor. Well, all they want to do is help the mother get child support, even when custody is not established. So they basically steer you toward child support, so you're surrendering custody to the mom without a custody order, and you're automatically volunteering to pay child support. And they start a parentage case when there's no established father. Well, I was on the birth certificate, so I got all kinds of stupid legal advice. But around that time, King County Courthouse cleaned house. And I've written the facilitators and written the clerk a lot of times, and they ignore me because I'm writing on behalf of other dads and guys who should be writing them themselves. I hear all these horror stories, and I tell the guy, make sure sometime, you got bigger fish to fry right now this week, make sure you write a complaint to the clerk so this stuff stops. They never do. And then I write it, and they blow me off because I'm not the actual victim. So guys out there, come on, man, please write the clerk of the court, write the facilitator's office, tell them this person gave me legal advice and this is what they did, and file a complaint to the Bar Association that facilitator is crossing the line. And again, if you say go up to somebody says, well, where do I file this? And you say it's on the 3rd floor in room whatever. That could be construed as legal advice. What they should be doing is saying, I can't help you with anything. If you come to me asking for the paperwork packet for a petition to modify, I can hand that to you. That's probably about the extent. If they initiate the conversation, or if they're the ones who are pushing and saying, do this and do that, and here's the paperwork, they're giving you advice. They're advising you. You're not walking in and saying, hey, I know I need to do this. I just need the paperwork. Another thing is, especially in Washington, all the paperwork is free online. A lot of times at the courthouse, they want to sell you a packet and make money off of you when it's all free online. Just go to courts, Washington courts. There's the court forms right there. Now, I'm not giving you legal advice when I say that. The court forms are there and they're free. I'm not telling you which ones to do or whatever. You can go and look through there. There's a packet that says divorce. There's a packet that says petition for restraining order. There's a packet for all kinds of stuff. There's not a packet for defending or fighting off bogus restraining orders. There's all kinds of advice and alerts and saying, if you need a restraining order, go here. There's nothing there saying, if you're being falsely accused and the mother's abusing the process against you and manipulating your child, go here. Because they don't care about the kids. All they care about is a radical feminist agenda, bending over backwards for women most of the time. Now, women get screwed and railroaded, but it's like 5% of the time. So family law facilitators, their existence is practicing law. Because people walk in there not knowing what to do, and they start telling them what to do. Oh, you're a father and you're not on the birth certificate? Well, you need a petition to establish parentage right here. There's all kinds of rights and avenues a father has and recourse outside of that I know of, but they don't tell people all that stuff. So they give them one streamlined specific area of law that they advise them, or a path to go. If they're telling you go down this path, now it's up to you. If they give you some advice and it works out great, and then you do well in court, fine, be happy with them or whatever. But these people are screwing people over, and they're telling dads, oh, you can't do that, or you can't do this, or you have to do this, or this is your only recourse. And they're usually lying and making stuff up. Because are they lawyers? Have they been through their own family law case? Have they won? No, but I have. So that's why you should talk to me, set a consultation with me, or look to my information and not these family law facilitator crooks and cons. And report them.